truly will minutes. And I wanted to talk to you about something today, and that is dwelling. Now, not the place you live, not the place you reside, but where do you dwell mentally during your day? You know, it's said that during the day, we think about sex, we think about love, we think about problems, we think about what we're focused on at the current moment, what's in front of us. We think about what we have to do. You know, just as you wake up in the morning, when the alarm clock is set to go off, you think, oh, I have to get up, I have to get ready, I have to go hop in the shower, I have to, if you're a guy, you have to shave, if you're a woman, you got to put on your makeup. Maybe guys, you have to put on your makeup too. You have to eat your breakfast, and then you have to go brush your teeth afterwards so you don't have any egg on your teeth. Then you have to hop in the car, and you have to get into traffic, and you have to get to work, and the first project you want to work on is this, and this, and this, and this, and this. All those things are valid. They're things what I call your must-dos. Usually they're daily must-dos. Sometimes they change, like what you're going to do when you get to the office. Or if it's a Saturday, maybe you have to go rake the leaves in the yard, or mow the grass, or some other task that you know is on your to-do list. That's exactly how our mind works. It does our must-dos, then our wanna-dos, then our desire-dos, and then your dwellings. And what happens is if you dwell on the wrong kind of things, it's kind of like an acid that from the bottom can eat away at all of the other things on your list. What do I mean by that? Well, sometimes, if you're honest with yourself, for example, on the drive to work, sometimes we don't have the radio on, we're just quiet, and I would encourage you to try this. Don't turn the radio on. Don't listen to the news. Don't listen to the traffic reports if you're comfortable with that. But just drive to work and be very quiet and still. This can be your meditation time. And what will happen is your subconscious mind, remember we talked about the paradigm, so the stuff that's already been placed in your subconsciousness is going to start churning. And what it's going to start churning is the things that you've been dwelling on. So the things that you've programmed in. And remember we talked about garbage in, garbage out. Well, one of the things that I do on my iPod is I have my inspirational or my positive folder on my iPod. And in there are only songs with positive messages. No, not religious necessarily, although I do have some wonderful Christian music in there. I also have messages of, for example, a song called Dreamer that's in there that has a positive message. It's a brand new release. It's only been out this year. Wonderful positive lyrics in it. And I have some Lady Antebellum songs that talk about inspiration. I Was Here is the song. Love that song. And there's some others that are in that playing deck that just are positive messages, uplifting. Why do we want to have positive and uplifting things in forms of songs? Well, we are human beings, and human beings desire to focus on things that they can absorb easily. And if I were to say to you, what would you do? You would say, for a Klondike bar. Why? Because the jingle is something that gets absorbed into your subconsciousness very easily. Unfortunately, there are some things that can get absorbed that are negative. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. That's not a good message, is it? All of us know that smoking is not good for us. But yet we have that jingle stuck in our head from all those years ago. So what I think you, and I've already done this and I'm doing it daily, is I'm trying to purge away things that I dwell on that aren't positive. I try to focus on thinking and meditating and dwelling on good things, things that are about where I'm heading. I watched a video yesterday on Joel Osteen. He's a pastor of a church in Texas, in Lakeland, Texas, who believes in the power of the universe. Only he does it and labels it as God and Jesus Christ, and power to him for that. He has a wonderfully successful church, and he literally taught everything that I've been sharing with you, well, most things, but surrounded and wrapped in Scripture. And it was wonderful to hear, because he was literally hitting on everything that I was talking about. Believing as if you have it now. And that's part of dwelling as well. It's part of vibrational truth. And it'll take you closer to where you're heading. And he shared a story in that message about a person that was given a building, that the beams could be taken down and moved and build a new church somewhere else. And he would say to himself, that's my building. That's my beams. That's my church I'm going to build. And he would talk in the present tense. It's already built. And we need to do that in our lives. Whether you believe in Jesus Christ, or whether you believe in God or Allah, or whether you believe in the machine. If you believe in your heart that something is already achieved, that's faith. And not Christian faith necessarily, but faith. Faith is the substance of things unseen and the evidence of things hoped for. That's what Hebrews 11:1 says. It's a New Testament scripture, so my Jewish friends and those that are Buddhists and Muslims, that's just, I quote from many sources. In fact, I have a video where I mention Abu, who was a Muslim, who was the first non-Muslim to convert to the Muslim faith. I mention him in one of my videos, so I give equal time and share. But the one thing I want to talk about is, what does that mean? Well, it means that you need to speak it into existence. A lot of the religions of the world teach that the Creator, at the beginning of time, spoke the world into existence. The power of speaking what you've been dwelling on does three things. Number one, it takes what you've been dwelling on and makes it visible, verbal, so you can hear it again and say, "Oh, is that what I've been thinking? That's interesting. That sounds right, or maybe that's a little off and I need to adjust it." The second thing it does is it re-emphasizes it again, because as you speak it, you are programming it back into your mind. Remember, good thoughts in, good thoughts out. Positive in, positive out. Garbage in, garbage out. So, by reiterating it over and over again, and speaking it to others, you are emphasizing it to yourself. Hey, subconscious, this is important to this guy. We got to get this for him. Joel Osteen talked about it as, all right, spirit within, this is what you have to do to get, this is something we need to reprogram. Guys, we were shifting gears here. This is something he now believes in. And he talked about healing and health, and he talked about a whole bunch of things. I really like Joel Osteen. Some preachers can turn you off. He never has. He's always had a genuine smile. When some people smile, you can tell it's coming from a place within that's truth. And I get that from him. In fact, Oprah actually has an interview coming up with him in the beginning of the year. During January, I believe it's going to air. Interviewing Joel Osteen. And because she believes in this positive message and, the example that he's putting out there. So, anyway, I'm not promoting Joel. What I'm promoting is truth, vibrational truth for yourself. There's been many teachers that I've listened to over the years. I talked about Tony Robbins and how his live with passion, and I talked about not making a roommate. I did, put that in there, that you need to let it permeate you. Let it literally seep in. Jim Rohn talked about the necessity of writing down your goals, writing out your passions, and then write an action plan for yourself. Napoleon Hill has always taught me. I can remember my first copy of Think and Grow Rich that I got back in 2005, and I read it, or actually I read it before that, 1996 I believe it was. Yeah, it was 1996, and I got a copy of it and I read it, and I said, wow, this is really interesting. It's good stuff. But I filed it away, like I said, in that filing cabinet I had. You know, and I'm speaking this through for myself, but, you know, again, getting back to what you dwell on, those things you absorb, whether you read them, hear them, or hang around them, positive people we talked about, people that drag you down, or as soon as you're around them, they draw your energy down, they drain you. Maybe it's your job. And if it is, go find another job, a job where the people inspire you, where you see them working toward a goal. You know, I happen to work in sales, and if you're around salespeople that truly want to sell, that's a good environment if you want to become the best salesman possible. You look to them as your peers and your mentors, the ones that are above you. I had a fantastic interview on Monday, and I saw such wonderful passion of thinking outside the box and wanting to take their company to the next level. And I thought, wow, that's a company I want to work for. You can be inspired to achieve. And I really liked that. The COO had just a way about him, and the CEO was a guy who had a guitar in his office. And he asked me questions that were outside of the box, and I really lit up when I heard that. So I'm speaking into existence that I would love to have that job, and I hope that I knew firmly that having an offer from them, it was something I would accept. So I put that out there in the universe. I speak it into existence. And there are things you can do that will never come true. Let me reiterate that. You can't make a certain person love you. You can't nullify someone else's marriage or relationship so you can have that person. And if you do, it's going to not lead to happiness because you're going to make someone else unhappy. And would you really want someone that had to be there with you instead of someone that would truly desire to be with you? Well, what you can do is speak into existence the type of person that you would like to have in your life. You can even describe them. And speak it into existence. I am living with this person, I'm married to them, and we're happily living in our home, and home looks like this, and we have a dog, and we have children. You can speak all that into existence. And if you're consistent with it, and you truly believe it as if it's already happened, truly you're clicking on the spirit within or the subconscious mind, the paradigm shift happens of making it reality. Just like I talked about the peanut butter and jelly sandwich before. If you're sitting in the chair, right now if you say to yourself, close your eyes and say, I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. First thing that goes to your mind is the jelly is on the door, on the bottom door of the refrigerator on the left side. The peanut butter is on the second shelf of the first cabinet, and the knives are in the drawer, and the bread is in the bread box. And it starts automatically giving you the list of locations of where you need to get up and go and what you need to do first. And then the key is you got to get out of the chair, because if you don't get out of the chair, you're never going to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, are you? So try that exercise if you get a chance. And if you're allergic to peanut butter, then make it a different type of sandwich. Maybe ham and cheese. Or if you're Jewish, maybe you're going to make a wonderful salad. Whatever you want to envision in your mind, use that example. Go through the mental exercise of it. There are some people that need to test the waters in the belief system to know that it's true. So what I would encourage you to do is write down what you truly, truly want, as if it's now. And give yourself something that you feel is a reasonably, just beyond what you reasonably would consider a goal. So if it's something that you've been trying to do and you always fall short, envision yourself as past the finish line of that goal. See it as if it already has happened. See yourself doing whatever it is that you would be doing if that goal was met. Not how to get there, not the money, not the circumstance, not the car, the car dealership you'd have to negotiate with. See yourself across the finish line, actually having, possessing, and living that particular goal. Dwell on it. Get yourself some positive music. I can't tell you enough about how I've lived a while. I'll be turning 50 in April. I know I don't look like it. Maybe the bags under the eyes give it away a little bit. But I've had a lot of experiences, and one of them I remember was a guy who listened to death metal and just heavy metal music. That there was some artists out there, I won't go into their names, but the music was very satanic oriented. And I remember going to the Job Corps and visiting this one person, and these roommates all walked up to me and said, "You got to do something. It's just, it's like the room is possessed. It's like, it's horrible." And one of the things they were doing was listening to this music all the time. They had records back then. Yes, children, there were records in the olden days. And they would just play this music over and over and over again. And then they would get this feeling like something wasn't right, and they would feel shifting currents of winds in the room. And if you're a born-again Christian, you know that there are things in the world that are not good. By dwelling on the good things, you can get rid of those things, and focusing on and being centered on what you believe, they can go away. But so one thing we did was we eliminated all of that music. We literally broke the records up, got rid of the T-shirts of the bands that he was listening to, and replaced it. And for him, he went to a church and was prayed over, and was delivered from what had bound him. And he also paradigm shift his mind of focusing on positive things, and he replaced the music with things that were positive and uplifting. So I saw firsthand how music can literally drag someone down, and the other roommates felt so much better once that was over. And I've seen that time and time again. But I'll give you an example of a song, and I know you probably all know this one. And listen to the lyrics. And I'm not saying it's a bad song, I'm just saying that if you dwell on it, and if you hear it over and over again in your mind, it can affect you. Don't push me, 'cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying hard not to lose my head. Well, that song, if you dwell on it, and I know the lyrics. Why do I know the lyrics? Because I used to listen to it, because the song was catchy. It had a nice beat to it, a nice rhythm. But the song is talking about, don't push me because I'm going to explode. I'm close to the edge, something's going to go wrong, and you're not going to like the results. Well, is that something you really, really, really want to dwell on? I don't think so. So I would encourage you to, in the place of those kind of songs that maybe you have in your rotation, create a separate folder. And for a period of a couple weeks, go through your music selection, listen to the lyrics, look them up online. It's worth your time to invest this. And look at, what's the message saying here? Is it, I want to have sex? You probably do have sex. And if you do, great, wonderful. Is it something you want to dwell on all the time? Maybe there's another message. I love a couple of wonderful songs that I have in my rotation, and maybe you don't like this particular artist. I mentioned Lady Antebellum. I Was Here is a great song. Dreamer is a wonderful song, and I encourage you to look that one up. It's available on iTunes if you have iTunes. And also, some other songs that come to mind is Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. Because your life is unwritten. It's up to you to write it. And you define and you create positive messages. For a period of like a couple weeks, put yourself a little rotation list of songs that are going to be positive. And when you're in the car, instead of listening to a radio station, plug in your iPod into your car and listen to that whole folder of songs. And if you're home, you'll find yourself starting to sing the lyrics of one of those songs. Then, in your mind, and I firmly believe this, maybe you have a good voice, maybe you are tone deaf. I certainly have some relatives that I can call tone deaf. You can create the lyrics to your own song. You could take a song that you really enjoy, but make it one that already has a positive message, and create your own lyrics to it. And in your mind, sing your own truth as if it's already happened. For example, if It Is Well With My Soul, good song, good hymn. Everyone probably knows, it is well with my soul. Maybe take that and say, I am 220 pounds, and I am a life coach. I am 220. I am 220. I am 220. Lame example, but you get the point. You could take any song that you know has a positive message already. That's important, because you'll sing the original lyrics. If you don't, your subconscious will say, oh, we know this song, and it will start replacing the old lyrics. So find one that's got a positive message and put your own message in it. So it's what you dwell on. So I hope that you're going to take time and dwell on you. Speak about things as if they've already happened. And live truly every step working toward it. Desire it. As a person getting off a ship, a submarine that hasn't been with someone in a long time, you embrace the person waiting for you at the dock. Soldiers coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan, I truly salute you. And I'm so happy that you're being able to come home this year and the beginning of next year. It's amazing. It's a wonderful thing. And the one thing I love more than anything in the news is watching soldiers coming home off a bus, or sailors coming off their submarine or ship, and they embrace their loved ones that they haven't seen for such a long time. Don't you think those sailors and soldiers, in their mind as they're getting closer to getting home, all they think about is embracing their loved ones? It's what they're focused on. It's what they desire. And I guarantee you that hug, that embrace, that kiss, the holding of your children and your spouse, is one that they long for. And when they get it, they breathe it in and they experience it, and it validates them. It tingles them through their whole system as an accomplishment. Well, you need to embrace and desire and anticipate every facet of your life heading forward. Just like the soldier longs to embrace their spouse, their dependent, their loved one, their children. You need to embrace it with great anticipation.